Welcome to the Sports Trebuchet podcast. I'm Marty.
Kyle.
And we're missing Josh. We've decided that in this Revolutionary War, we're going to win again. And the British guy is going to be playing next week or the next time we record. This is episode 2, issue 2, the Aaron Brooks issue. Don't know an NBA number 2 that I can think of off the top of my head that was... Has there ever been?
Yes, of course there has.
Listeners, or listener, more appropriate. Has there ever been a famous good number 2?
It'd be good if you could get back to us right now.
Yeah, please respond. Please respond.
That was gonna drive me nuts.
Is it? You want me to look up best? Let's.
Number 2. Then it's gonna be somebody obvious. God, it was Oscar Robertson. No, it wasn't. He was 21, I think.
That's the best draft pick. This is a garbage. Best NBA player with the number 2.
Probably gonna fight myself.
Moses Malone, they say the best all time.
He's pretty damn good.
He's really good, but like if that's where you're having to draw from. All right, here's another one. Basketball Reference, NBA, ABA players that wore the number 2. Only 195 have ever done it.
Huh.
Which seems, I guess, pretty big, I guess, because if you're going to keep the number for a minute, like it's a pretty good amount. Rick Barry, there's a name. Eric Bledsoe. Not an all-timer. Isaiah Cannon. Well, they spelled it fucked, so it's not my bad.
Isaiah Cannon.
Goran Dragic. I can't even say
Dragic, man. Decent players.
Melvin Ely.
Ew.
Raymond Felton, there's an old-timer.
Oh.
Sanjiata Gaines.
Ugh. How long was he in the league? Like 2 years?
Kyrie Irving. How do we not even think of Kyrie Irving?
Because we're not good at this.
Because he's a shit player.
Because he thinks the world's flat.
He thinks the world's flat. As he dribbles around basketball constantly.
It's not the same set.
Wesley Johnson for his year with the Spurs.
God, I don't even remember playing for the Spurs.
Kawhi Leonard.
God.
I don't watch the NBA anymore.
Yeah.
Moses Malone, there's the big one. Oh, the biggest one probably was his 2012 run with the Clippers. Kenyon Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Mart. He's an all-timer.
There's a guy that got hurt in the NCAA tournament, or right before the NCAA tournament.
Juan Carlos Navarro. The pride of the Mavericks, man. He was so critical to their development. Gary Payton for 2 years.
Where?
At the Sonics. In that city that can't afford to have a
city that shouldn't have an NBA team.
Exactly. Thabo Cephalosha.
Ew.
Nick Stauskas. Man,
I don't like Nick Stauskas.
I can just confuse Nick Stauskas. I can't even say his name. I'm not going to try again. It's gone. Chris Webber, 1 year with the Bullets. Cool. We just spent 3.5 minutes listing off shitty NBA players. So we have only one main topic to get to by the listener's request. The listener's request. Our buddy Kyle, spelled with a Y.
The wrong way.
The wrong way.
There's no debate.
You know what's funny is, like, I would have imagined he'd be, like, a pretty good addition to this podcast, but his voice is so fucking deep that it would be disturbing and it would fuck up all the levels. It'd be so fucked up. And I think I've told him this, but the first time I ever heard him talk, when I introduced myself to him, I laughed in his face because I thought he was doing a bit, because his voice was so deep and he was just like a normal, skinnier looking dude, which has changed since he's had a kid. You heard me, Kyle. I need to get back in the gym. So before we go over the hottest dudes in sports today, as one of the main focal points, I saw this while I was pooping today.
Ooh.
On Twitter. And I want you to tell me what you think.
Okay.
This is from Roger Gonzalez, who works for CBS and is a soccer sports writer. That's a stupid thing to say. He's a soccer writer.
Soccer sports.
As opposed to like the soccer fashionista writer. can confirm that MLS and Liga Mexico have held talks about potentially combining the two leagues. Obviously in the early stages, but if that does happen, what a huge change it would mean for the sport in North America. And if you want to follow Roger, just Google him. I'm not going to give out his name on here.
I agree, honestly, just because, well...
Here, actually, you know what? Hold on. Before you even say that, follow us at Sports Trebuchet on Twitter, because I fucking was going to remember to put this at the beginning, and I just remembered. Or if you want to follow me, Marty, on Twitter, at SportsHeel, H-E-E-L. The guy Kyle, not the one I'm recording with, but that recorded the actual, responded to the actual question. I'll actually have to look up his Twitter, so I'll drop that later whenever we do the question. Rate, review, subscribe, please.
Just
anything, please respond, please respond. We don't have many of y'all yet, but to get more of y'all, or more than one or two. I don't want it just to be my mom listening,
She's embarrassed.
And my mom doesn't know how to work iTunes, so it's up to you, Kyle Holt, to review us. I just used your last name, fuck. Hold on, write down the marker so I can bleep his name out. Hold on. I'm going to put, that was around the 6 minute to 6:10 mark. Remove Kyle's last name. I get a funny bleep noise I can put over it too. Or like an awooga. Alright, back to this. It'd be huge for North America, I think. But soft count, not even soft count. I'm going to look up.
So what? So there's two leagues in Mexico.
Two leagues. So I think, yeah.
They do it
they have the tier system.
Well, no, it's not even that. I think they do it twice a year, and they call the league something different. But it's
it keeps changing, but it's the same teams. It's still what is some Cruz Azul? Yeah, Cruz Azul, Club America, CF Monterrey, Querétaro, CF Pachuca. Those teams have been there forever because they played up in North Dallas a whole bunch. But
so you'd have that, and then there's 20, 22 teams in MLS, and they're trying to expand.
That's what I was just going to say. Is that the
you'd have to go to
number of teams 23 in MLS right now.
You'd have to go to a promotion relegation, which I think would be great.
18 in Liga MX, so you could almost do a perfect 20 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the reason I don't see it working out would be if only who's going to decide who's that top 20. Because if it's most profitable, then Mexico's going to be underrepresented by a lot. And then you factor in whatever revenue sharing they have. And when you're flying to Querétaro, Mexico, which is right next to the state that we lived in when Sarah and I lived there, it's not great, a super great area. There's not a great airport. Really, maybe an airport that has more than one gate.
Okay.
And so, that's what I'd be worried about. Because if you go to MLS teams, they're located in New York City, Orlando,
Minnesota,
Toronto, Montreal, Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Houston, Frisco, Texas, which is outside of Dallas, Seattle, San Jose, so major hubs. And when you get to Liga Mexico, let me see if it lists it the same way. Of course it doesn't, because Wikipedia is shit. So, yeah, it does. Mexico City, cool. Guadalajara, cool. Another Mexico City team, even better.
Monterrey is probably...
There's two in Puebla City. So I guess, you know what? That kind of works itself out. No, it doesn't, because the two Mexico City teams is Cruz Azul and Club America, which are the two biggest, at least, followings in the Texas region. Those games are always packed. There's three in Mexico City. Jesus. Boca del Rio.
City.
Yeah, I guess it is pretty big. Tijuana, Leon, Aguas Calientes City. That's the coolest fucking city name.
Hot Water City?
Hot Water City, dude. Hot Water City. You can call that Flint, actually, now. Just change Flint's name to Aguas Calientes City. Dude, that is a fucking...
Hot Water City.
Look at the stadium, too. That is a beautiful field.
Good for them.
And it's sponsored by Powerade. That's unfortunate. The sugar water.
But I mean, I think that this could work. I mean,
well,
I think it would give them. It would give the ability for the promotion relegation system to actually work and be seen here in North America, which would be great, and it might push. If they see how it's done around the world that way, it might push the youth programs in. Now I'm just going to get really, about the U.S. It might push the U.S. youth programs to start trying to emulate what's going on around the world. Maybe that would push because the only way that the U.S. men's national team is ever going to make that jump would be if they start to treat it like it's treated around the world.
So if they start learning all the ways Mexico plays dirty.
Yes.
That's the way we're going to do it.
Yes.
See, I think that interesting. The team in Zapopan, Mexico, their stadium is just called Akron, which is funny because they probably don't realize that's a shitty city in Cleveland. But look how fucking sick that is, dude.
What is this about?
That is badass.
Apparently, that's what they do in Mexico.
If you're not driving and you're listening to this podcast, Google the Omni Life Stadium, or also Akron, for the club. Oh, it's Guadalajara is the name of the club. It's boring. That seating capacity is only 46,000. Here's the crazy thing. Like, if you look at... that's a shitty picture. Anyways, if you're driving and listening to this, don't look it up. Or do. Don't care.
We're not the police.
We're not the police. What am I, a cop? I'm not going to narc on you. Here, look up some porn on your phone while you're driving.
Watch that.
We've all done it. The bass kicks, dude. It thumps. It thumps.
Get a nice drive time wanking.
Yeah, just rip one out. Shoot some rope. Fire off some spider webs. That's a fucking huge stadium, dude. That's 80,000 people.
Woo.
That's fucking huge. That might be bigger than the Bank of America Stadium.
It's probably pretty close.
So there's money there in Mexico to support it and the travel, I think. To your point, though, like, where's Canada in this? Do they even have a league? I don't think they do, right? MLS is Canada and the U.S. That's a dumb thing.
Yeah, we've got Montreal, we've got Toronto.
Well, and it'd be pretty cool, actually, to add some more teams in Canada as it grows. That'd be really neat because I'm counting 1, 2, 3 Canada teams, and you're adding 18. You're adding more than 18 because if you're adding their second division, and that's the problem with the MLS thing too, though, is because they don't have a service road. Is what I was going to say.
They don't have a service road.
They certainly don't have a service road. They don't have a feeder league necessarily, right? Except unless you count the USL.
Yeah.
But the USL has recently restructured their entire thing, and it's 3 tiers.
Yeah,
and they're doing it like a promotion.
They don't work in tandem.
Right, which is unfortunate. So, like, USL has 60 teams out there, including the Charlotte Independents locally. Okay. I believe that's the name of them.
Yeah.
Richmond Kickers. Mm-hmm. The Pride of Allen O'Hara. But so they have the structure system which should fit in just fine, and that'd be cool.
It's just not on a large enough scale. This would put it on a large enough scale.
And without looking at it, I'd be willing to bet those USL teams, which I'm going to try to look it up, are almost all East Coast. Like, I very much doubt that. Let's just look at Wikipedia, United Soccer League.
Well, I guess that's the other thing we have to think about, though, is that we're trying to do this in a very large area, between Mexico and U.S. and possibly Canada. Well, Canada because of teams. But, I mean, when you're looking at the European leagues, those are rather condensed areas.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the tricky thing. I didn't even consider
travel isn't going to be that much of an issue.
The furthest north point of Texas to the furthest south point of Texas is less distance than that same north to south in England. So that's a really good point, especially when you consider team travel. Because if you're the Rio Grande, I just said Grande. I'm going to get my fucking Texas card taken away. The Rio Grande Valley Football Club Toros.
It's not a fucking cup of coffee.
If they have to go to Ottawa, that's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you factor in the fact that, like,
you got teams
that are touching
Mexico.
Yeah, that are touching Ecuador.
Trying to go to Vancouver.
Yeah, that's the travel part seems like it'd be the most difficult. And that's a bummer because, like, I think, like, one of the teams is like Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. The Bethlehem Steel's actually got a pretty sick crest. So, like, how cool would it be if you were raised in Bethlehem to see your team go up and then end up competing against, like, the FC Dallas, the Vancouver Whitecaps, all those teams.
Playing New York Red Bull.
Right, like, instead of having to settle for, this is the Red Bull 2, so I think they might actually be kind of associated with it, or they're just, Red Bull's got the market on it. But I think it'd be pretty cool, because that's what we all, like, hope for, right? Like,
yes, the biggest relegation, try to emulate the European style of structure. I think that it would be a positive, but trying to do it in such a large...
Well, and they just started with a Cup Series, right? They just created it like a month ago, or started it a month ago.
Okay.
Between Liga Mexico and MLS.
Okay.
So it's probably a good first step. And maybe there's a way to do this where if you divide all these different teams that you've got combined into an East-West, because the teams would all you'd still be able to start from a point of having 20 teams on each side being in their respective Premier League. And if you're insistent on having a playoff like most American sports are, then let's just do it like England does. Decide who wins each league, and then have a champion, like a fucking championship game. Your AFC, NFC merger kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's away from the
I guess
structure.
You're right. Yeah, that's true.
Totally away from that structure.
Even if they do the normal home and away, no playoffs, you win the league straight up. And it's still a cup structure that way, in the same way. Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, because even in England, like the cup structure, it's every tier of.
I'd like to show you the shittiest name on this. The Indy 11.
Whoa,
it's awful. It sounds like a group of convicts that escaped.
The worst version of Ocean's 11.
Yeah, Indy 11 is just a bunch of people that died from opioids at the same time instead of actually robbing a bank. Because that's all that's in Indianapolis.
No, it's just 11 people that get arrested leaving a Colts game.
So there's a Portland Timbers too. So yeah, I'm wondering if some of these teams aren't kind of de facto, maybe not.
Oh, okay. So MLS owned clubs, MLS affiliated down here at the bottom.
Okay, there. Yeah, so it's blue.
Some of them are owned, some of them are affiliated.
Some of them don't even exist yet.
And the green ones are.
So the Austin Bold. What a shitty name, dude. The Austin Bold. Like as in brave or as in non-italics.
I want it to be non. Really.
Dude, New Mexico crest is pretty fucking sick. It's I was gonna say the same thing. It's Albuquerque Dortmund FC.
What's Swope Park?
They're the Rangers, and not bad actually.
Yeah.
Although the one thing that I hate about
Ryan Swope Park,
and maybe I'm wrong, but thinking off the top of my head, English Premier League teams and their crests have basic ass old fonts. And they're not like the fancy old English fonts, right? But they're just simple and whatever and nondescript. And that's what it should be. This looking like a classic, like cool badge with the letters interlocking is fucking beautiful. Also not a visual medium, this podcast, so sorry. The Swope Park Rangers, if you want to look up their crest. Rangers looks fucking awful. That might as well be the knockoff Power Rangers packaging
Yeah.
fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's garbage. I'm done talking about this. Because
I'm over this.
they're playing at Children's Mercy Park, which, how great would it be?
Look at that. The little stadium. Kind of nice.
That is actually kind of, that's so cute.
Adorable.
So cute. It's about time Kansas City gets a team that's good, you know?
Yeah. They did win a World Series recently.
Yeah, but does it count? Because didn't they also, like, hack the Astros scouting?
It was before the Astros got good.
They still broke a law and hacked.
Okay.
I say hacked. They had a password because the Astros were too fucking dumb to change their password and they fired a guy. Anyways, I think, we're both here for it.
Yeah. I would love to see it happen. I
don't know if it ever will, man.
No.
And that's a bummer.
Also, you gotta think about work visas or something like that going across the border, because how are they gonna, like, I'm talking more about U.S.-Mexican relations at this point.
Yeah, I guess the tricky part too would be if American Club A buys the rights to an Italian football player, and then he comes over, and then they've got and he's over on a work visa, and then they've got to go to Mexico. Although they're having the same thing with Canada already, the MLS part.
Yeah.
But Mexico into the U.S. might be an issue because right now it's probably
not the best time.
Yeah, tough to. You know what? Maybe they can still have their games, but literally put a wall at midfield, and they just have to arc their fucking shots from like
but
70 yards.
Build a wall.
They have to
right before the game.
That's actually part of warm-ups. It's just
building the wall.
It's slinging brick.
Masonry.
It's the Masonic soccer league.
The Masonic League.
Masonic League Soccer. That's what MLS stands for. I keep seeing the note to remove Kyle's last name because it is fucking said it out loud.
Leave it in there.
I didn't plan to we really should. I mean, it's not like anyone's gonna fucking listen.
He's gonna hear his own name.
Yeah, he'll pop for it. He'll show his wife, and his wife be like, "Who gives a shit?" And just like move on. I didn't tell you what else we were going to talk about because I wasn't totally sure. But I wanted to discuss your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, great.
And mostly why they're never going to win a championship. And it's not because it's like you give me a shitty grin. But I have a feeling that Bortles just isn't the guy. And it's not because of his performance.
He's just inconsistent, man.
Well, you know what?
That's the thing.
I didn't look this up, and I was going to. So I'm going to look up a comparable player for what would need to happen, right? So I'm going to look up Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Trent Dilfer, man.
Trent Dilfer. So let's take a look. Oh, fuck. Why is it doing this? Okay, so in 2000, he only started 8 games.
Tony Banks also started for him that year.
I forgot Tony Banks existed. Like full stop. Forgot he existed.
Tell his mom that.
His mom can come fight me. I don't care. All right. So in 8 games starting, he was 7-1. He threw 12 touchdowns for 11 interceptions. Not great. 59.3 completion percentage, way less than what even Bortles is at right now.
Bortles is at like 64%.
Well, the whole league is. I mean, I told you that
Yeah.
Joe Montana stat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like his career passing percentage, his career pass rating, quarterback, Jesus, the QBR that's worthless, right? But it's like, it's the old standard. You can measure old to new. His career QBR is less by 0.1 than the entire league average right now.
Wow.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And they had the thing about Treitman, right? He got passed by Ryan Fitzpatrick on touchdowns for a career in like 60 less games.
Yeah.
He also probably has more interceptions than Trautman in just as many games.
Do you want me to go on my diatribe about Blake Bortles?
Hold on, I want to finish with the numbers for 1 second. So he was asked his average. Let's see, he was 226 throws in 8 games, and I'm assuming this is including the playoffs, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
I can't imagine.
They didn't throw the ball much. They had Jamal Lewis.
Okay, so let's just in the playoffs. They beat Oakland that year, didn't they? Yeah, the dates throw me off because it's showing 0-1 from when it flipped over. In the playoffs, he threw the ball. He was 9 for 14 for 130 yards in the wild card game. 5 for 16, no touchdowns, no picks, in the win against Tennessee. And then beating Oakland, 9 for 18 with a touchdown and a pick. That's insane.
Bortles is better than that.
He's better than that, but he also has the potential to be worse than that.
Yeah.
Right? So, like,
I mean, there's no excuse for the 5 turnovers he had this past weekend against Kansas City.
Yeah, and I don't know if some of that's adjusting to the mean, right? Like, he had a game before that is probably out of his range for a normal.
Yeah,
for a normal
388 yards, career high, with no picks. He was extremely efficient. But this year has been a great microcosm for Bortles' career. First game, he's kind of iffy against the Giants. Second game against the Patriots, he was lights out. He was great against the Patriots.
Yeah.
Third game against Tennessee, he was mildly efficient, but not really because he was missing check down throws. He was not.
So the basic. Just using QBR since we're already on the topic. This year, he started the Giants 67.2. The next week against New England, I forgot they played New England already. 111. At Tennessee, 72.5. And the Jets, 114.8. And so then 54.7. So based off that...
And he also had a career high in passing yards against Kansas City. He had 416 yards passing.
430.
430, okay.
One of those adjusted for sacks. Maybe.
But also, he had...
And 30 yards rushing. And a rushing touchdown against Kansas.
Yeah. But he also had 4 picks and a fumble.
He threw it for 61 times. That's probably your problem, right? Is like the
that
amount
is
of
the problem.
times. So in the two
Yeldon
games...
was very effective.
See, but that's a weird thing, right? So the Giants and the Titans game, what time is it? 5:40? Cool. We'll wrap this up and then we'll do the hot dudes.
Okay.
For Kyle.
Thanks.
He threw for 33 times and then 34 times on his worst days. His best days, minus Kansas City, sorry. 38 he threw against the Jets. 45 he threw against New England. Both good days, great days. And then, so apparently as soon as he passes like the 50 threshold in attempts, because he's not Drew Brees, he probably should never, right?
No. They're better when they have a running game to complement them. TJ Yeldon has been extremely effective this year, and they need to continue to give him the ball. There are certain times, especially in this Kansas City game, where it didn't make sense why they weren't giving him the ball. The perfect example of that is 3rd and 2, near the goal line. They decided to throw a pass. But then they decided to go for it on 4th and 2 and threw a pass again. If you know you're going to go for it on 4th and 2, why are you not running the ball once?
Yeah, if it's already 4-down territory.
And you're very close. You're down 10-0. You're just trying to get points on the board at that point.
Yeah.
Why are you not giving the ball to Yeldon? And Yeldon, I know that he's been banged up, but he's been effective.
Well, now Jamal Charles will save it. You know what's interesting too, though. So his entire career, first 2 years, he got fucking demolished by sacks constantly. In 2016, improved, he went from 51 to 34 sacks. In 16 to 17, went from 34 to 24 sacks for the entire season. So he got sacked less than 2 times a game. on average. And
what happened in 17-18? Because that was the year they went. That was last year.
Right, 2017, the 2017 season. He only got sacked 24 times.
Yeah, offensive line was really good last year.
So this year, they haven't been bad, right? They had only allowed 6 sacks before Kansas City, and 4 games is pretty good. Same kind of pace. Mm-hmm. They let 4 up, or 5 up.
He also was getting hit every time he dropped back.
Yeah, I wonder if Kansas City's scheming to be aggressive.
Didn't hurt. And the right side of the line had
That's the exact same thing Jags were doing to... I mean, it was happening on both sides, right? Yeah. Like, that's what...
The last game, A.J. Cam and Jeremy Parnell had their worst games as Jacksonville Jaguars. They were awful.
And it's not just because they're in Jacksonville.
No.
That usually will be the qualifier in itself.
Yeah, seriously.
That's right. Hopefully Hurricane Michael will wipe out the entire state. So, on to the power rankings of the hottest dudes in sports today.
Oh boy.
I don't have a drum roll ready or a soundboard to do it. So the first thing I did was ask my wife. And it's been... it took her all of like 3 seconds to say who her number 1 was. And after seeing him, it's probably going to be pretty tough to top. And I think I mentioned it in our chat, so it's not going to be a surprise to you. But her number 1 was Eric Decker, who I'd kind of forgotten existed a little bit. And in some of the pictures, like, he looks like a fucking goober.
How about that top?
But then, like, this.
Top right.
He looks like the guy that didn't make it from the Twilight series, right? Like I never saw the series at all, so I have no idea. The guy
Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, the werewolf.
That's right. Yes, I was almost right then. Okay, so yeah, he looks like Taylor Lautner to me in some of the pictures.
A little bit.
If he took steroids.
Okay.
But anyway, so Eric Decker was on her list. And she won't be listening, so I don't care. Definitely not in my top 5. And as I'm saying that, I have no idea who's in my top 5 except for probably 1 on hottest dudes in sports today. And I don't know, maybe we just call it like I'm trying to think of a way to say it. SILFs, sports stars I'd like to fuck. This will be our sports. You know what? Even better, sports studs I'd like to fuck.
Okay.
You're number 1. Let's just do top 5. Let's just list 5 names out there. Let's spitball.
Olivia Giroux.
Okay, Olivier Giroux.
Not even typing.
I know, I'm typing on mine because I'm going to pull them up after we start naming them. So Eric Decker, you're fucking out. Rob Gronkowski, just kidding. Chad Hutchinson, no way. Quincy Carter, probably not. Spitballing here, David Beckham, 100%. But he's not. Is Giroux Olivier active?
Giroux is, yes.
Okay, I don't. He plays for France, I imagine.
Yes, but he plays for Chelsea right now.
Okay.
Sure.
Since Josh isn't here, we'll speak for him. His number 1 is definitely Glenn Murray, who plays for Brighton Hove. He just rips one out to him like at least once.
He sees that bald spot. He just
it's the thin hair, and he just thinks about like how wispy, like it just blowing in the wind.
He just plays that "Come to Daddy" song by Apex Theory.
He plays "Come to Daddy" by Aphex Twin.
Not Apex Theory.
No, but
it was by Apex.
No, that'd be a good remix. Glenn Murray's his choice. Done. All right, so we have 2 soccer players. So in baseball, who would you think in baseball? And let's go ahead and include past and current because I don't really follow baseball right now. Do you think like peak cocaine Josh Hamilton would qualify, or if it would be or Michael Young? You know what? I'm going to put Michael Young on my top 5 because Michael Young was a handsome mother.
You know, I'm going to go out and say it just because I'm a Yankees homer. Derek Jeter.
That's gross. I thought you were going to say
Gary Sheffield.
Jorge Posada. Gary Sheffield. Roger Clemens after he took steroids.
Stephen Wells.
Randy Johnson.
Pre-mullet.
CC. So we have 4 names. We're gonna list 6 more together, and we're gonna power rank them together.
Okay.
Okay. We'll do this as a unit, since we're a unit and Joshua is not, because he's not here because he had to pick up a rental car.
Fucker.
Bell End. Any other baseball you can think of? King Griffey Jr. No, he's charming, but black dudes probably have bigger dongs, right? And if I'm gonna take this, I'm not gonna take it from a black dude because it's gonna hurt more than a white dude. It's only gonna hurt a little bit if they're cheating.
A-Rod was a good-looking dude.
Is it Minotaur A-Rod, like the picture?
Yes, definitely.
All right, so we're going to do Minotaur A-Rod. He's on the list. He might be number 1 with a bullet. Let's think. Byron Leftwich? No. Tom Brady?
Tom Brady probably.
He's always on that list. But you know what? Let me see if I can...
just for the sake of fuck the Patriots?
Who's... Yeah, just for... I mean, he already has everything else. All right, Chris Hogan's not as pretty as I remember, so never mind. How about little Danny Amendola? Okay.
Oh, what about Garoppolo?
Ooh. No, because he just looks like, he looks like if Tony Romo got cast in a Disney Hercules movie. Went to the same school.
You know, I want to put in another soccer player because I just think he looks just like.
Let's put Jimmy Garoppolo on here. I guess he's out for the season. This is a pity fuck. Another soccer player.
Ken Sema for Watford.
Spell it. Ken Sema.
Ken is just.
Is that 2 names?
Ken, yes, and then Sema is S-E-M-A.
It sounded like a Japanese gaming company, so I didn't know. All right,
I think
I'm
he's a good-looking dude.
We'll figure that out. We're gonna put him on the list, so he might be 10. You know what? I'm gonna put, even though he's an Aggie, Von Miller, very charming, personable, good-looking dude.
Nate Burleson.
Let's put Nate Burleson up there. That is 9. So let's find one more. There's.
Do we go to the NBA? Do we?
Is there anybody in the NBA though? Kerry Kittles.
Reggie Miller.
Miller. Gilbert Arenas.
There's that Dwayne Wade might.
I mean, he pulled it really hot wide. But he also cost the Mavericks a championship by getting all the calls by the refs, so he can go fuck himself. Kevin Durant, I like him bony.
Othello Harrington, I like a little cushion.
Yeah. It's all those like postal workers that Michael Jordan used to dunk on in the late '80s because that's all it was in
Dennis
the
Rodman.
Dennis Rodman.
I like piercings.
His tattoos really do it for me. And being totally wheels off. God damn it. Another sport that's not... you know what? I'm going to Google something. Would you put Ronaldo on here? He rapes people up here.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Hottest sports stars, and whatever the top one that comes up is the one we're going to add it. Oh, it's a bunch of chicks. Hottest sports guys. Wait, I noticed how... Rudy Fernandez? Rudy fucking Fernandez? Spain must have just... It's not like bad. He kind of looks like, in that picture, the Maroon 5 guy. But it'd be El Maroon. Yeah. It's Adam Levine. Yeah, that's not going to do it for me, dude.
He's not getting you hot bothered?
No, I'd fuck JJ Barea before I'd fuck him.
Oh, okay.
God. Okay, we're gonna take the top off.
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson's number 1?
He's one of them.
No, I think he's number 1. There's no way. This list is old. Because, yeah, that's from 2011. Because it turned out he beat his son. Let's do...
on Instagram. Huh?
This is taking too long for number 10. Here, let's just... go, goddammit. The top name. The first name we see. Because if he's shit, I'll just put him at 10. God damn it, it's Ronaldo. How's Blake Young? He looks like the guy from... Looks like the guy with the fake face in the old 70s TV show. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. The guy with the fake face.
Red, you ever seen a guy with the fake head? Red hair, fake face, TV show. It's not Taylor Swift. Shit.
This is ridiculous. Just
Ugly, red hair, guy, 80s. This guy.
The Elephant Man?
That's not Elephant Man.
Yeah, man.
It's from Rocky and... Oh, no. Don't play it. Rocky and Diana? Diana?
It's the Elephant Man.
That's not the Elephant Man. Okay, he looks like the Elephant Man. So let's put Kevin Love, because he came out for
anxiety.
Yeah, for just mental awareness, which is cool. Okay, so let's do... Let's start at 1. Minotaur A-Rod. I still haven't... Because I'll probably recognize him. I don't want to look up
He's a
Olivier
good
Giroud.
looking dude, man.
Nah, dog.
No, go to the images.
No,
go to
dog.
the one without the beard.
See, that's... The beard is all he's got.
No, man.
You fucking kidding me, man? He looks like...
It's a good looking dude, man.
He looks like the bottom of his face was burnt in a fire, and he's got the Frank Beamer roll with his cheeks, and not the good one.
That's a good looking dude.
Okay, I'm gonna look at Nate Burleson as a reminder too. Just need some white material.
Not that.
You just like long-faced motherfuckers, so it appears like this.
Yes. It's a good looking dude.
Yeah, so Nate Burleson's probably up there. I think Becca might be like my number 1 of all time.
Look at Ken Sema. You don't know what he looks like. No, S-E-M-A.
Okay, cool. That's definitely not him. See, what did I say about a Japanese video game, though?
There you go.
He looks like... He looks like David Gerard and a guy that plays a cop in an 80s movie. Danny Glover had a baby.
He's also Swedish.
That's normal things. He's alright. So I think Von Miller, bottom of that list. He's just charming.
Okay.
He's an Aggie too, so fuck him, right?
Yeah.
So Von Miller 10. I'm just throwing this out there. You tell me if you want to
Okay,
argue with
I'm
it.
good with that.
So let's put 9 Kevin Love, because that was kind of a pity thing, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so we're going to do Kevin Love. Do I need to remind you what Michael Young looks like?
Yes.
Okay. He's just very average, obviously, but he's so goddamn charming, man. And he was so fucking boring when he was playing, but then like he's a good dude. He kind of looks like an actor. I can't think of it. Look at that big old chaw he's got in there, man. He gets cancer. What's wrong with cancer? Nothing. Look at that. Look at that smiley fuck. So let's move that. Michael Young is 10 after re-evaluating.
So
Von Miller 9.
Von Miller, Kevin Love.
Yep, Kevin Love. So I'm gonna go ahead and type this out. So the next position. So we're gonna do Michael Young. We're gonna do Von Miller. We're gonna do Kevin Love, and then Olivier. I'm willing to make him number 2. It's the highest I'll go.
I might push him a little bit further down.
Okay, because you have other people in mind.
Yeah.
All right, so
I can't believe it. Beckham's going to be number 1, probably.
okay, let's put we're gonna put Minotaur A-Rod as I can't do counting. Number 7. I can't do counting. Is what I said. I'm gonna go ahead and bookend and put David Beckham at the top. Someone's gonna knock him off, right?
I see. I would almost push A-Rod up to 2.
Minotaur A-Rod to 2.
Yeah.
We're doing Minotaur A-Rod.
Okay, you're right. We're doing.
Do you want to get plugged? Do you want to get plugged by Minotaur A-Rod? Because no one wants that.
The horse, basically.
Yeah. Oh, so you're a horse fucker, Kyle, huh?
Yep.
Oh, you like fucking horses?
Yep. Like donkey shows. So much fun.
Didn't only marry a horse girl.
Oh God.
Dude, you want to fuck a horse guy?
Terrible.
Number 2, behind David Beckham. I'm gonna put this on the screen too, so you can see it. Might be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So if David Beckham's 1 in that list, this is really annoying because it's supers.
Ah, man. Okay, out of this, I might put Giroud at number 2.
Number 2, you think?
Or maybe Garoppolo.
I just don't want. Garoppolo at 2?
Maybe.
He said. I'd be willing to go Garoppolo at 2 if you want Giroud at 3.
Okay, I could do that.
Because the rhyming would have been too much. I'm going to say Jeter, 4.
Okay, and now we're dealing with Burleson and Sema.
Yeah, and I feel...
probably Sema is probably better.
You think Seamus?
I think so.
Better looking than Nate Burleson?
It's tough.
Who can you have a conversation with?
Nate Burleson.
Okay, so
I
we're
don't
going to put
speak Swedish.
We're going to put Burleson. Just watch some Sesame Street. They have some dude on there.
Yeah. You're just asking about the English version.
Just asking about different cheeses, and that's all you got.
It's S-E-M-A.
All right, so the definitive... I don't care. I gotta keep misspelling it constantly. So this will be the end of the podcast. We appreciate y'all listening. Again, at Sports Trebuchet on Twitter. Rate, review, subscribe. This is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. It's the top 10 dudes in order of how bad we want to fuck them. And actually in reverse order. Number 10 is Micah Young, former Texas Ranger. Number 9 is Von Miller, current Denver Bronco. Charming guy, shitty Aggie. I hope Matt is listening to this because he's an Aggie, and I think he might. Kevin Love at 8. The Minotaur version of A-Rod at 7. Ken Sema, S-E-M-A, who plays for Watford, at 6. 5 is Nate Burleson. Derek Jeter's at number 4. Kyle, say that guy's name, please.
Olivier Giroud
Is at number 3. Jimmy Garoppolo is number 2. And number 1 is David Beckham, who I would definitely wank him for, like, free.